Call of Duty missions hardly ever get it wrong. We've been able to experience some incredible moments with each game right up until the latest installment. However, there have been some stinkers. That's what we'll take a look at today. These are the missions we wish we were able to skip. Now I would like to say that I'm basing this solely on the gameplay of the levels. They may drive the story or even have iconic cutscene moments, but actually playing through them was a slog. And also, I'm not counting cutscenes disguised as missions like Revelations from Black Ops or the coup from COD 4. So while you're here, why not subscribe and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any new videos. So without further ado, and in no particular order, here are the 10 worst campaign missions in Call of Duty history. Number 10. Blood and Iron, World at War. There's nothing worse than a vehicle mission in a first person shooter, unless of course you have a vehicle mission with clunky controls and no real excitement within it. That's exactly what we got with World at War's Blood and Iron mission. When I first played this level I loved it. The fact I was able to ride a tank at all was amazing to my child's brain. But I've played it recently and it is without a doubt the worst mission in World at War. The tank itself is harder to control than a 10-year-old with a sugar rush. It's even ineffective in combat as it could take up to 3 shots from the main cannon to take down another tank. That is of course if you manage to hit the other tank, as the main cannon has about the same accuracy as Darwin Núñez. And don't even get me started on the flamethrower. That thing couldn't burn an already lit bonfire. The level has no substance to it. Drive here, blow that up, boring. As I said, 10-year-old me loved this level, but the novelty of it has worn off and I see it for what it truly is. It's just a bland experience that does nothing to enhance the story, and you'd genuinely be better off reading your school history book back to front for more entertainment. Number 9. Atlas, Advanced Warfare. Generally, the new generation of COD games had well-rounded missions, although to be fair, they had a few stinkers to learn from. The second mission in Advanced Warfare, however, didn't get the memo. The only good thing this mission did was give birth to the infamous press F to pay respects meme. We cut to the future after receiving an offer to join Atlas by CEO Jonathan Irons, who's played by the kiddie fiddler himself, Kevin Spacey. Here we're thrown into a covert mission to rescue the president. Only it's all a simulation that ends prematurely after your newly acquired arm acts up. From here it serves as a tutorial level and gives you an insight into how the exosuits and grenades work. You get some exposition from the fiddler in an unskippable golf cart ride around the facility. It's almost as annoying as unskippable ads on YouTube videos, which I turn off on my videos, so you're welcome. The issue with this level is that for the tutorial it's incredibly long. When I was getting footage for this, it took me 25 minutes to complete the whole thing. Plus you have to repeat that covert mission again, but this time without all the cool sneaky bits that made it fun. That's like making you play all gillied up from COD 4, but instead of dressing up like a bush and using a sniper, you go as a juggernaut with a disco ball. Advanced Warfare had some cool moments and great action set pieces, but Atlas can get in the bin. Number 8. Pavlov, Call of Duty 1. Not many would remember playing the original games. I'm old, so I do. I also remember my first attempt to complete the campaign on Veteran, and the level Pavlov was a complete headache. It starts off quite cool with you having to cover one of your allies from snipers that appeared in the distant building, but that's where the fun ends. From here you push into that building and clear it out floor by floor. The building itself is like a maze, and if you don't know where you're going, you can struggle to find the stairs to the next floor. Once all these enemies have been cleared out, you're put on the defense. And you'll notice something with this list. I really don't like timed sections with infinitely spawning enemies. And that's exactly what this was. 4 minutes on the clock and a stupid amount of enemies. Not to mention you're also attacked by tanks, which means you have to get the compass out again and try to navigate the building to find the anti-material rifles to take them down. The original Call of Duty is a fairly difficult game, but this level is easily the hardest. Even when I was playing it on regular for this footage, I was dying every 2 minutes. Now imagine this on Veteran. Pair that with the unforgiving checkpoint system and you'll be pulling your hair out in anger. Number 7. No Russian, Modern Warfare 2. I might get some hate for this, but as I said at the start of the video, this list is based on the gameplay of the level and not the story progression. So with that in mind, No Russian is a terrible mission. I know I just said Pavlov was too hard, but No Russian goes in the complete opposite direction. The only challenge this level presents to you is to not pull the trigger on any of the unarmed civilians in the airport. Obviously this level is iconic, but once the original shock value has worn off, all you're doing is slowly walking through an airport. Eventually you will come up against some enemies, but realistically it's just 2 waves of riot shield enemies, and you have a grenade launcher attached to your M4, so again, there's absolutely no challenge here. But don't get me wrong, I love what this mission did to progress the story and raise the stakes for the remainder of the campaign, but after playing it once, I always took advantage of the option to skip the level. That feature is supposed to be used by people who don't want to see graphic content, but I just used it so I wouldn't have to slog through that sham of a level again. Number 6. Loki Ghosts. Ghosts is a game that definitely divides opinions, but one thing you can't deny is that it had a really fun campaign in terms of action set pieces and gameplay. However, there are 2 outliers. First one up is Loki. This is the second last mission in the game and the concept looked cool, but the execution left a lot to be desired. The The mission is set in space, which again is a cool concept, but you had the maneuverability of an elephant on an ice rink. The limited amount of cover was completely useless, as you would either undershoot or overshoot yourself, leaving you exposed either way. Playing this on veteran was horrible. Cover is pretty integral if you're playing on a difficulty where a light breeze could put you down, so not being able to use that cover is obviously severely detrimental to the player. Thankfully this section isn't too long, and after breaching part of the space station, you control missile strikes for the ground forces. This is actually a good part, as you rain down hellfire and brimstone on the enemy army, but unfortunately for us, this is even shorter than the other section we just played. Even that small missile section isn't enough to justify playing through this level more than once. Number 5. One shot, one kill. COD 4. Here's another COD level with a small section that kicks ass while the rest of it sucks it. One shot, one kill is the level right after the incredible All Gillied Up. Still dressed up as walking trees, Price and Macmillan are tasked with killing Imran Zakhaev. What's great about this part is the shot you take. Having to take wind direction into consideration, it made sniping something better than just point at the target and pull the trigger. Plus in the remastered version you could kill Makarov, which is great because that means you won't have to play through no Russian again. But that's the first 33 seconds of the level, as after you're forced out of your vantage point, you're thrown into a race against the clock to get to the extraction point. After a while you shoot a helicopter down and silly Macmillan gets his leg messed up from the rotor blade. So now, not only do you have a timer and a load of enemies, you also have to lug him around. It all comes to a climax at the end of the level where you set him down and prepare for yet another time section, with infinite spawning enemies. Remember how I said I hate those sections? I always hated playing through this level. The worst part is that you don't even kill Zakhaev, you just shoot his arm off, so the level is just pointless. Number 4. Life. Black Ops 3. I was tempted to just put the entire Black Ops 3 campaign here, but I've decided to give it to the finale, and easily the worst level in the game. I'm not even going to try explain what the hell is going on here. There's other YouTube videos explaining the story of Black Ops 3, so go watch them, but not until you finish watching this, or at least subscribe before you go. Anyway, I know I said at the start that I'm only taking gameplay into consideration, but I'm making a special case here, as the whole story surrounding this just distracts you completely from the level. The gameplay is really repetitive too, so while one part of your brain is on overdrive trying to comprehend what's going on, the other part is entering low power mode. It's a terrible finale to a terrible campaign, but hey, at least it's consistent. After a few more confusing cutscenes, you finally come to the end, and also the end of all your suffering as Black Ops 3 finishes. And then you can sit and think about how you wasted 10 hours playing through this campaign. Number 3. Strike Force missions. Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 had one of the best campaigns in COD history. It was fun and wasn't afraid to get adventurous. However, with the Strike Force missions, it got a little bit too adventurous. I get the idea of having the FPS gameplay mixed with real-time strategy, but it just plays like crap. I would have loved to see them go down the XCOM route and have a small squad to control with more of a tactical approach to gameplay, rather than just letting you point to where you want the units to go and control them if you want to. The levels themselves are designed poorly, where basically the only objective is to just defend the point. Even on the attacking levels, you're forced to plant some sort of device and defend that. On veteran, these levels were awful to play through. Your squads get picked off very quickly, so you'll find yourself lone wolfing it with a singular soldier. Thankfully, these levels are optional, so you don't have to put yourself through the pain, but completionists out there will be pulling their hair out at the thoughts of playing another Strike Force level. Number 2. Death from Above. COD 4. One of the coolest levels ever made is also one of the worst. Death from Above is our first look at an AC-130 gunship in Call of Duty. As you sit in the gunner seat, you have thermal optics and an option of 3 cannons, which vary depending on how far you want to send the limbs of your enemies. This all sounds wonderful, but the novelty soon wears off. One issue I have is that there's actually not that many enemies. Once you fire a 105mm cannon and take out a whole group, you just circle around waiting for the next group to spawn. This is one level that could actually benefit from infinite spawning enemies. It would raise the stakes and give more of a sense of urgency, rather than having to wait on the next section to start shooting again. They could have even added vehicles like tanks or BTRs that need your attention, or even an attack helicopter that's hard to hit with the big cannon. And that's just it, there's not much challenge to it. In fact, my biggest challenge was fighting the urge to blow up civilian vehicles that come along the road. But that's just me. It just gets boring, and the latest Modern Warfare 2 did it so much better. Number 1. Birds of Prey. Ghosts. I think the general consensus is that Birds of Prey is the worst COD mission of all time. I replayed it recently to see if I could argue a case for it, but all I can do is agree with the public. In the level, you fly an attack helicopter as you assault the base to capture the main baddie, Rourke. Sounds cool, right? Wrong. Just like Blood and Iron, the controls let this level down more than I let my family down. One major issue is that there's no altitude control, so if you want to take out an enemy, you'll have to perform complex trigonometry to find out the angle you need to kill them. Granted, things are made a little easier with guided rockets, but some enemies are hidden well enough in the buildings that you spend a good 10 minutes circling back around to try find where they are. Eventually you touch down and engage in a nothing special firefight as you make your way to Rourke. It's nothing we haven't seen before, and there's no real challenge here either. Even on veteran, it's a walk in the park. although Ghosts on Veteran was one of the easiest COD games anyway. I think if the vehicle controls were more user friendly and we had a bit more variety in the gameplay, then this mission could have been great. But unfortunately, it wasn't like that at all, and we just got this rubbish instead. So that was the list. Did I miss out on your least favourite mission? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and comment ding ding to let me know you've done it for a shout out in my next video. Anyway, I have been Lenny, and I'll see you next time.